How's it going, everybody? I am back in Fallout 4, and this time I'm going to be building the wall around Murkwater construction site. So the first thing that I did was I got a couple cars that I wanted to use and have them angled on this side of or on the back side of the settlement behind the tree houses against some of the trees. So I wanted to have them kind of angled on the hill or whatever, uh, like this car right here, and I just moved them down a little bit closer to the trees. And I used the bread box, obviously, with Quappa to place the cars at the angles that I wanted. So this car, the angle wasn't quite the right way, but it ended up working anyway. So you guys are probably going to notice from here on out, I won't use a whole lot more of Place Anywhere. So I think that I've started to hit that limit at this settlement, which fortunately I'm kind of wrapping things up here. That's why I'm building a wall now. But I'm kind of wrapping things up because I'm kind of hitting that limit where the Place Anywhere tool just disappeared right there completely. And I noticed after this that that was causing a lot of crashes. So you'll notice that the uh, pillar glitch tool is in the middle of that area now, and it's because I started to do the pillar glitch to place a lot of this fence. So a lot of this was done with the pillar glitch and without Place Anywhere. Even some of the more tedious parts that you guys will notice later, like a lot of the decorations and stuff. You'll notice some parts of this build are going to be um, kind of, I don't know, blank. It's just they're going to be kind of empty, not really be as filled in as you would hope, or I would hope. But I fill those in later. I add some decorations and stuff afterwards, and I thought that it actually turned out really good in the end. But this is kind of a recurring thing around this settlement, is these tire junk walls being around the trees. It just works. I really like the way it looks too. Speaking of stuff just working, this doesn't. The select all, I just for some reason thought that I could just select all this like in the middle of the settlement, and it was not working for me. Also, I think since it was recently updated, Custom Vanilla Assets made it where you can add water to settlements, and it also made it where you can pick up any water that's already placed. So for me, that's a problem because building here, there's water everywhere, obviously. So there's multiple times while I was building this that I would just select all of the water of the settlement. And you have to be really careful and pay attention to what you're deleting or what you're moving and stuff, because you can now delete and store and move water. So that's something that's dangerous with custom vanilla assets to look out for. And then right there a second ago, you guys saw that I placed down a little wooden half wall between the two junk walls, and then on this side I placed down a wire fence between the junk fence and the tree behind these spikes. And what's awesome is I placed it down and the pole goes right through the freaking hole in the fence. It was awesome. It worked out perfect. I was so surprised on how well that fit. But yeah, then I just continued the junk wall a little bit farther. I like these junk walls. I think these are easier to kind of just put in a row because the texture's kind of a lot different. When you have a bunch, like back to back to back, like if obviously you're going to notice the repeating textures, but like if you mix it up and stuff, it's really easy to have just those walls instead of having to add a lot more decoration and crap like around all of those. And then to fill in this gap, right here because I didn't want to add another junk wall, and because I've just added 3 in a row, I wanted to break it up right here, and I just added a chain link fence. And then decorations later, I added some cinder blocks in front of it. I didn't do that in the video though. So this side of the settlement, I wanted to have less of a junk wall and kind of just section off this area up front. I wasn't quite sure how much room I was going to give it, but I give them enough room to kind of walk around, and maybe I'll put like a water pump or something right there in that area because there's a little bit of room. But yeah, I just grabbed some walls and I just pillar glitch those in using the select all tool or select all glitch or whatever. And I just kind of line up this wall a little bit below it because I grab a railing and I place that on top. I like to do this on my junk walls because I think that it looks cool, especially what I end up doing here. I end up placing some stuff on the inside, and then it kind of makes the texture not look so bad on the inside. So right there you can see it looks like a completely different wall. And then on the front, I just throw one of these on there. So it looks reinforced because of the metal on the inside, but then it looks really scrappy because it's got all these extra parts and stuff on it. I realize that this is a lot of extra work for like the littlest amount of difference, but I really like the way that it looks. And then I add a reverse junk wall. And I realize that this side isn't very high up off the ground, that someone probably could climb over it pretty easily, and then it's probably the most dangerous part of the wall. But right here, I just fill in that gap between the door frame and the other junk wall that I had just placed with just a half wall. I grabbed the scrappiest looking one. I think that this one looks really cool. It's really good for filling in spaces. And then we go to this middle area. So I wanted to block off where the diner was from the walkway that leads back towards the hanging gardens and the market area. Um, I just think that sectioning off the settlement kind of makes it look a little cooler, in my opinion. And since I've been walking around here, and in the tour, I don't actually show this part off. There's a couple details that I add in here that I didn't want to show in the tour. I want to show you guys in the final tour just so that there's something to see in there that's like new. But yeah, I ended up closing off this little area. And then to fill in these gaps, I just grabbed these half walls from the woods tab under retextures. There's metal, and then there's all these different metals, and I picked the corrugated one. And then I just grabbed another one that was retextured and just kind of glitched it in a little bit too so that you can't see the textures kind of clipping too much or anything like that. There's no errors or anything. It kind of looks a lot smoother. And then to kind of get rid of that middle area where you can kind of see where the textures are blending together, I just grab a wooden piece with the plywood pieces, because these pieces are a little bit more 3D-ish than the other ones. And you can use these to kind of cover up a lot of those like messed up textures and stuff. So you can see I just cover up the one side and then cover up this side with this half wall. And I think that that actually looks really good. But now we're on to the outside wall on this side. And this is actually the wall I was referring to when I said it looks kind of boring. But this is, I think, the coolest part of the wall whenever I finish and decorations and everything. because I do decorate a little bit. I left out all the small details. Also, I guess I forgot to record to include me adding that wall on the right. I did. I added a wall on the right there. But then I just continue it a little ways. And I was too lazy to get any rugs, so I just used the select all tool. I probably could have added like a door over here or something like that to let people in on this side, but I want there really to be only one entrance. Well, not actually. No, I want there to be two entrances. I want this front side and then the back side. Uh, the back side behind the market, I have a gate, and that's not like the main entrance. That's kind of just a back area. It kind of just looks like it's part of the wall, but we can get out of it if we have to, you know. But otherwise, it's not going to be used. I want people to have to come through the front area where that shed is. I ended up adding a door on that as well. But over here, like I said, this section looks kind of bland too. That's why I added that little middle piece right there with the bed up on its side, and then I change up the walls a little bit and add this one and then this tire wall to go into where those trees are. And you can see right there, that's kind of the decorations I went for when it came to the walls. I just ran into a massive amount of tires. That's kind of what I did to fill in a lot of these spaces to break up a lot of the just bland looking areas on the wall. Uh, I would add like groups of tires and some of the modded walls, the ones from Aslam's Junk Wall Pack. I added some of those as well. And then this corner, I didn't really do anything too crazy. I just get some half walls. And you can see how one will kind of sit on top of the other. What's cool about that is you can essentially pick it up like a rug glitch. And for some reason, I forgot that. I thought that they would all turn white or all turn blue. And it doesn't work, so yeah. Eventually, I get it to work. And then I was just trying to get it as close to the house as possible and figure out how or which side of this junk wall that I wanted on. And I ended up picking closer to the market. But right here, like I said, I added a bunch of decoration on this side. That was kind of the most boring section of the wall, I thought. So I thought that it looked better with all these decorations and stuff. And then, don't worry about the lighting. It'll get a little bit brighter as we get through the tour. It was really early in the morning whenever I recorded this section. I had slept until I think like 6:30, 7:30 to actually start and have a good lighting for the video, because I knew that it'd get brighter as I get through the tour. You see I added like some junk tires over there, and it looks really scrappy in my opinion. I think that it looks really good. I couldn't really add anything back here. There wasn't a whole lot of room. Otherwise, I would have added a couple junk walls. And then, like I said, this wall, it's a gate, but it's kind of covered up by these cattails. And then also, or what are they called? Yeah, they're called cattails, I think, in the game. That's the name it has for them. But the Mirelurk cage, you saw that I added a Brahmin in there. I got a couple more of these spikes on this left side. And I added a turret as well, because this is probably the most vulnerable part of the wall. And then, because there's nothing really behind those spikes. If they get through those spikes, they're right into the settlement. I got a spotlight for whoever's up there guarding. And then more spikes and a fence behind it, like I said. And then, yeah, I think it just looks like a really scrappy wall, and I think that it works well for this settlement. The water can like flow through in these parts with the fences and stuff too, so if water needs to drain out or anything, I thought that that's something that I thought about whenever I was building. And then I just added some tires and stuff to fill in a lot of these gaps. But let me know what you think of this build. I'll probably have like a full final tour on Friday. But thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.